I'm JB Friday. I'm Extension Forester with the University of Hawaii Cooperative Extension. And I work with forest managers, land managers around the state. And part of my program is an extension program on forestry and conservation nurseries. To me, native plants are important because they're something of Hawaii. And I appreciate all the beautiful plants we have, but to me it's also somewhat tragic that usually as you drive around the islands, what you see are all these things that aren't of Hawaii. You see Chinese hibiscus, you see monstera, you see African tulip tree, and you don't see things that are special for Hawaii. You see things that are just generic tropical. And I've worked in Puerto Rico, I've been to Bali, I've worked in Philippines. Same general trees that you see in landscaping everywhere, bougainvillea and royal palms or whatever. But Hawaii, we have so much that's special, it's unique to Hawaii. And both for ourselves and the people who live here, it's just really important to value, protect, and preserve these things that are native to Hawaii. And the neat thing about plants is we can grow these and put these in our yard and have something on our yards and our houses that is native Hawaiian. A lot of people talk about Hawaiian culture and practicing Hawaiian culture, and I didn't grow up here, I'm not Hawaiian, but one of the things that I feel like I do in terms of practicing Hawaiian culture is growing Hawaiian plants, because many of the plants also are tied to the culture. That one of my favorite stories is from Maukokona, where Hannah Springer told us about when she was a girl growing up, the halapepe was common there, and they would make lei from the flowers of the halapepe during the season. And when halapepe got almost completely wiped out by the goats and the various diseases and stuff, that tradition was lost too. But now they're puawa there, they're growing back hundreds and hundreds of these. Maybe by restoring the plant, they can restore the tradition also. So many of our plants also have stories, mo'olelo, have traditions, have uses that connect the people to the land. And by propagating and taking care of these plants, we can also restore these traditions in the culture. A lot of them are very rare, and for some of them, the only reason they still exist is because they've been propagated and restored. But the other part, and the part that I'm more interested in, is restoration of large-scale areas. For those projects, you need hundreds of thousands of native plants to plant out. So there's both the side of rare plant propagation, where you're maybe only growing dozens, because maybe you can barely get any seed of these super rare plants that you're really going to baby and take care of. But on the large-scale restoration, you want to plant out hundreds of thousands of seedlings of native plants to take over hundreds of acres, and we hope scale up to thousands of acres of native ecosystems that we're restoring to the landscape. On the other hand, the conservation side, people learn the science, like the taxonomy of the plants, the evolution, the history, all the interesting science stuff. But some people don't know anything about propagating plants, and they'll find themselves in a nursery with the job of, okay, these rare things, now you got to start propagating them. Whereas in the ag side, you learn about all the things about how to actually practically grow things. You learn about the potting mixes and irrigation and seed germination, how to get seeds to germinate. You learn about things like pests and diseases, how to keep your plants healthy. If we combine the two, it can be really powerful, because that will, the knowledge that you gain in an ag and a horticulture program about plant propagation applied to the conservation issues of these rare plants that we want to save, these ecosystems that we want to restore to native habitat, will be really powerful and effective. I would say the most important skill for nursery and native plant propagation is being meticulous. And maybe that's a trait, not a skill. You're careful with things. You pay attention to what you've done. You keep records. You're clean. You're tidy. And then you watch everything. You look at how the plants are growing. You know the saying of the best fertilizer is the footsteps of the farmer. The nursery grower that every day is walking up and down the benches and looking at the plants. I told you I have bad examples of plants. Well, one of the bad examples is a whole bunch of pots that had fallen over and the trees had bent and grew up again. So that told me that the nursery grower hadn't been in that nursery since the plants fell over and the things grew up again. He wasn't doing his job. He wasn't paying attention. The careful nursery grower that takes a lot of care to things, that's the key thing. Now, for skills that are helpful, again, in a practical field, you have to integrate a lot of things. So plant propagation skills, how to do propagation from seed, how to get seeds to germinate, how to do propagation from cuttings, when you do propagation from cuttings, when you do it from seeds, what do you consider for that? But then skills also of thinking about your soils, your mix, your potting, so knowing something about soil science, what you want to do there. Plant nutrition, how do you fertilize? And then pests and diseases. You come in your nursery and the trees aren't looking good. What's wrong with them? How you diagnose them? So a lot of things in academic training, you'll take a pathology course here, you'll take a entomology course here, a soil course here, and then you come into the nursery and the trees are looking yellow. What's wrong? The great thing of a good grower is he can integrate all those things. Figure out, is this a pest? Is this a disease? Is it nutrition? Is it too much water? What's going on? So the ability to take different parts of information and integrate them to come up to a practical answer. That's really a great skill. When I see the really good nursery growers, that's the other sort of thing that they can do is figure out what's going on. So problem solving is a skill. So meticulousness, being careful, detail oriented, and being able to solve problems. One thing that's really special about working here in Hawaii is there's so much going on and there's so much unknown. If you worked in a production nursery on the mainland, maybe everything would already be worked out and nailed down. But in Hawaii, we have so many different plants we're growing in unique environments, unique different plants. There's always the opportunities to figure out something new and really make a contribution yourself.